Hey there, my name's Dara Hoffman-Fox. I'm a queer identified licensed professional counselor and I'm a transgender advocate. So I'm making this video on November 15th, 2016. 1 week ago was Election Day in the United States, and 1 week ago none of us really knew what was to unfold in the coming hours, and none of us really knew just how much it would impact us and shock us. And honestly, we've been through a trauma. And when I say we, I mean the fact that you're watching this video means that you probably were impacted in the same way, myself included. And so that being said, it's really, really important that here we are a week later and there's certain feelings and thoughts that we've worked through and gone through, and knowing that this is a time for an increase in self-awareness and how you can take care of yourself is the purpose of this video, because there is this is no joke. This is probably for many of you the first time you've ever experienced something like this before. A lot of you have experienced trauma on a personal level, but to have this happen on what feels like it's actually an international level of what you're going through and what others are going through, this is very new to some of you. And even for those of you who maybe were around during other times of turmoil and chaos in the world and in your country, this is the first time social media has been such a huge factor in it. So in a way, this is new for everybody. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 6 different tips for self-care in this video. This video is going to be relevant today. And what I mean by that is, more than likely I'm going to be making more videos in the future that will continue to highlight what can you do, how can you get through this, how can you take care of yourself. Because the thing is, we don't know what the future holds at this point. It is uncertain. So this video is just based on what I know of today, and I think it'll be able to be helpful for at least a little while. And then when something new happens, I'll create another video. So for now, let's focus on, here we are 1 week after the election results. What is it that you can do to make sure you are taking care of yourself during this time? Before I get into the specific tips, there's one thing I want to mention right off the top, and that is the way that you're feeling is completely valid. So let me say that again. Your feelings are valid. Don't let anybody convince you otherwise. I know this because I've seen it and I've heard it. I've seen it and heard it from people who are being really mean about it, who are saying, you're being a crybaby, you're overreacting. And I've also seen and heard it from people who are trying to help, and they say, I don't know why you're so scared. I think it's going to be okay. You know, calm down. They're trying to be nice about it, but once again, it still makes you feel like the way you are feeling is not valid. And so, first and foremost, please, please know that the way you are feeling is right, because this is you. This is your personal experience, and only you know what it's like to be you. And if you're scared, and if you're angry, and if you're hurt, and all of those things, then that's okay. It is absolutely okay. The first tip I want to mention has to do with social media. Like I said earlier in this video, this is the first time that social media is being as involved as it is for many of you in your lifetime when it comes to something this big happening in your life. And so there's 2 different things when it comes to social media. For one, I want you to fine-tune your social media. That means if you need to go through the social media that you are exposing yourself to and start cutting out certain people and certain things that you're reading and seeing from certain organizations, you need to do that. If you need to add in more people or more organizations, more news feeds that feed you the things that you need to see right now to help you feel comforted, to help you feel like you have community, to feel like you're supported, then you need to add that in. So once again, you need to start cutting out what it is. You can always bring it back in later, including different people in your life. But if you need to block it out for now, and you need to bring in some others that is going to help you more during this time, do it. The second part of social media is if you need to tune out, tune out. I mean, cut it off. You can do this for an hour. You could do it for a day. You could do it for longer than that. I'm not saying you have to cut social media out forever, because as I'll talk about later, there are ways that social media will be able to help you in the coming days, as long as you use it carefully. But even if it's positive and negative things that you're reading, taking in too much of that is going to wear you down. So if you need to give yourself a break, like I said, even if it's for a very short amount of time, and you can go do something that feels invigorating to you, something that you know is going to help your energy, then I want to make sure you do that. The second tip is find community. This is of utmost importance right now. It's always important to find community when you are going through something like questioning your gender identity, or if you decide to transition. But it's even more important now to make sure you find community. Community can mean whatever it means to you specifically. This can be community that is in your personal life, people that you can interact with, in, real life, so to speak. But if you don't have that kind of option, go online and find community. This can be people that you actually do interact with, or this could be things like this video, where you know that there's people out there who are thinking of you, even if they don't know you personally, and they want to help you. You need to find people that are going to understand how you're feeling. They're going to say, I too am feeling that way, and that you can come together and share ideas about how you can get through this, and how you can feel safe in being able to talk about how you're feeling about this. You have to find community. That's what people have done for decades. When things like this have happened, they gather together and they find strength in that. So I really need you to do that. And nowadays, on the good side, when it comes to the internet, if you are isolated and you're unable to find that in your own personal life, turn to the internet and go through that way to be able to find more community. Tip number 3 is turn to your self-care checklist. Now, not everybody out there might have a self-care checklist. In my book, You and Your Gender Identity, A Guide to Discovery, at the very beginning of the book, I have what's called the SelfCare Checklist. And this is a list in which you write down for yourself all the different things that you know are things that you do to help take care of yourself. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a free PDF where I have that part of the book on my website, so that you'll be able to click in the notes for this video and be able to take you to that PDF. What I have is a list of a bunch of ideas that can be on your self-care checklist, and then you can create your own self-care checklist from there. So being able to turn to what you already know helps you. You already know this. You already know that there's certain things that make you feel better, that you can use to kind of check out for a little bit. And speaking of that, make sure when you're doing self-care, you don't go too far and it becomes too much into escapism and detaching from reality. So you have to kind of balance that fine line between doing that. The fourth tip is to be proactive. So being proactive means in a situation in which it feels like it is very much out of your control, it means finding things that you can do that are within your control. So let me give you a few examples of this. There's been a lot of articles shared this week about how you can take steps to get your name and your gender marker legally changed on legal documents. And there is information about ways that you can turn to attorneys who can help you with this, and a lot of attorneys are offering their services pro bono. And there's links about where you can find out about the state you live in and what you need to go through in order to get that done. Even just finding out information about this, about what is it you need to do, how much is it going to cost, how long is it going to take, taking the steps to find that out is proactive. And this is for those of you who are in that stage of transition, who feel like this is something that you have been planning on doing, but you just haven't done it yet. Another way you can be proactive is, and I was inspired by one of my clients who told me this, is that she's going to get involved with self-defense. She's going to learn self-defense for herself. She's a trans woman, and she decided that, for one, she's going to go forward with the legal name and gender process sooner than later. But she also said, I want to be sure I'm able to protect myself in a situation that I really, really hope doesn't end up happening. But if it does, I want to feel prepared. So that's a way to become proactive. Another idea for being proactive is to start learning as much as you can about law and about politics, and to the extent that it doesn't feel like you are then immersing yourself too much back into the whole election and post-election discussion. Start learning about what is it exactly that is at stake here? What is it that could be changed, that could possibly harm me? What are the chances that it could happen? What are the steps that it would take? And that way you can maybe perhaps either get some reassurance about it, or if it's a realistic concern, at least you'll know. And then you'll know that that's something you need to prepare for. So again, be proactive. Find things in your life that you can have within your control and take steps towards in a situation that feels very, very much out of control. The fifth tip is to rededicate yourself to what you are already doing. So this can mean so many different things to so many people, but for some people it means I am not giving up on my transition. I am not giving up on being in college and studying for this degree so I can enter this career field. I am not giving up on being a civil rights fighter and doing what I can to help others. It can even be, I'm not going to give up just being me. That's huge for you to be able to assert that to yourself and dedicate yourself to that. This might be one of the hardest steps to take right now. So if it's something that still feels too big for you to take on, take it in small little bites. Tell yourself, I rededicate myself to taking care of myself during this time. I'm going to make sure I eat well. I'm going to make sure I get sleep. I'm going to make sure I exercise. Anything that you know that is good for you in your life and that you are maybe working towards, things that you're improving. Tell yourself again, I am dedicated to doing that, because when this kind of thing happens, it can just completely put you in a place of, why do I even bother? I even went there for just a really small amount of time, and it scared the crap out of me, because I know it's understandable that we had that feeling that comes up, but very quickly I realized that's everything. That's the reason why I should bother, because there's so much at stake. So think about that for yourself. What are some ways that you can do that? The sixth and final tip is to get involved. So when I say get involved, I mean getting involved in a bigger way, something that is beyond just yourself. It's getting involved with different sorts of groups that are beginning to form as we speak. There's different rallies, there's different organizations, there's different causes. There's going to be a ton of this coming up in the future. I guarantee it. We're going to hardly be able to keep up with how many different opportunities there will be to get involved in making sure that we are here and we are visible and that we're treated with respect. And so this, again, is not something that everybody will feel ready to do right now. It might not even be something that you're going to feel like you will want to do on a big grand scale in the future, and that's okay. Even just you doing things on a personal level, sharing a picture, sharing an article, sharing a meme, those things do make a difference. That's a way that you can be involved. A lot of people are built for this. I would say I have in myself, I am an activist at heart. So this kind of thing does get me motivated and charged up, and I want to get involved and I want to help. Not everybody is built that way. That's okay. There are a lot of us out there who are going to be stepping forward and helping in the future, and you are going to find your way that you can do this, whether it's on a bigger scale or a medium kind of local scale, or even in your own personal life. You will find a way. And if you can find a way to get involved, it'll help you feel like you're doing something to move things forward, something positive. And that can go a long way towards alleviating the fear and the stress and the anxiety. But again, if this is something that you want to sort of tuck away in the back of your head for later, that you might not be ready to do now, that's okay too. So again, this has been Dara Hoffman-Fox, and thanks so much for watching. I really hope that this has been able to provide a little bit of information to you that can be helpful to you during this time. Please feel free to share it with others. I'll be coming to you again more in the future with more. And just remember, we are absolutely in this together. I'll be back. Thanks. Take care.